Hello, Elgin. Welcome to the January edition of Lalley in the Valley. So we're back after 2021. We took a little break doing our year-end crime stats, so we are back for 2022. And this year for Lalley in the Valley, I'm going to be joined by Officer Hector Gutierrez, which probably a lot of you know him. He's one of our rope officers. He's been here for a long time. And he's also one of our breakdancing stars. I would say that's probably what you're famous for.
Sometimes. only when I feel like, I don't know.
Only when you feel like it. You're not going to do anything today?
Not today.
Okay,
not today.
Got it. So this year we're going to be translating Lalley in the Valley to in Spanish, so that way our community is able to access this information and be provided with the same information that we normally cover. So Hector is going to be joining Ryan eventually after my show to translate the information, provide any other information that he feels might be beneficial to the community. So Hector, I will see you in a little bit.
Yes.
So Ryan is now going to join me for Lalley in the Valley. So Ryan, if you want to come on in. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Good morning, Chief. I am great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. So changing things up a little bit here, you guys had to practice your switch. You guys did that perfectly. Good job. So I want to just talk a little bit about, January. So, we had kind of a quiet year and, a quiet December, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, going into this year. And again, doing crime stats and getting all that information finalized, it takes a lot of work. So I want to again say thank you for all your work on that. Getting our annual report out, it's a lot of work. So thank you
again. It definitely is, yeah.
Yeah. And that being your first time too as well. So you probably were surprised at how much goes into that.
It is. There's a lot of information and a lot of correspondence.
Yes. So thank you again. So looking at January crime stats, and so I noticed a couple things. Let's start off by how we usually do, talking about our Group A offenses. Group A offenses, those are the most serious. And again, Group B offenses are the less serious crimes. It's also inclusive of some self-initiated activities such as DUI arrests.
Right, and it's also going to include a lot of other petty offenses as well.
Got it. So what I noticed for January, we are at a 26% decrease from where we were in January of 2021, which is significant. So do you want to talk a little bit about why that's such a significant decrease?
Right. A lot of that is going to be due to our decrease in the fraud category. And last year, so in the December of 2019 or 2020 going into January of 2021, we had a lot of unemployment, fraudulent unemployment claims. So there was that massive spike, and we're not seeing that over the holidays so far this year, and that we have like a 92% drop compared to last year. So that's owing to a lot of the minus 26% drop this year.
Yeah, so if our community remembers, in 2020 into 2021, like you mentioned, we had some employment fraud. We did see some significant spikes at that time, and so here we are, a year later, and that's why you see that is a really big number that we normally don't see. So I wanted to make sure the community knows, why we're seeing that number, at least for the month of January. One of the things that I did notice are aggravated assaults, and again, this is a category that we talk a lot about because of our shots fired cases. So our aggravated assaults went from 15 in January of 2021 to 34 in January of 2022. So you want to talk a little bit about those numbers there?
Sure. So our shots fired last year was definitely up. And we're still seeing shots fired continue into this year. But it's not always going to be shots fired. About half of those numbers are weapons related. So the other half, aggravated assault, includes things like serious fights and domestic altercations. So it's a little bit of a mix of everything too. Okay, and just for the community too, our shots fired year to date, we're at 8 shots fired, and this year at the same time we were also at 8. So again, we're continuing to really put a focus on driving those numbers down.
working with our law enforcement partners, having some extra directed patrols, doing some investigative methods and some strategies. And again, it's important that we're talking about this every month and getting the community involved, because a lot of times our cases have been solved because the community comes forward and provides some information. So we'll continue to have that conversation every month as it relates to shots fired and our aggravated assaults. And then the main thing that I wanted to mention too, as it relates to Group A offenses, we did see a significant spike in our burglary to motor vehicles. And so we had 8 in 2021, and for 2022, we're at 23. So, a few years ago, I want to say it was 2018, going into 2019, we saw a significant increase to burglary to motor vehicles. And, we started our campaign, if you like it, lock it and put it in your pocket. A phrase that, it's catchy, right?
It is.
It rings in your head all day.
Right.
So we've been really, focusing on that over the past couple of years and have seen significant decreases in that category. But this month we're seeing an increase. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're seeing from the statistical side in some of those cases?
Right, definitely. So we did see a big drop after 2018 when we started that campaign. But another thing that seems to have impacted our overall crime rates is the COVID-19 pandemic. So people staying at home, stay-at-home orders. A lot of our crimes that were usually up were a little bit down. So some of that might have impacted our burglary to motor vehicles. And now with the seasonal trend coming in about last fall, our burglary to motor vehicles have been on the rise. So another thing that might be impacting that as well is the cold weather. A lot of people like to turn their cars on in the morning to let them warm up, and we're seeing a rise in burglaries and also the whole vehicle themselves being taken as well. So again, it goes back to, if you like it, including your car, lock it and put the keys in your pocket.
Ryan just made that the 2022 phrase. If you like it, including your car, right, lock it and put it in your pocket. So we do see this happen to your point, during the winter months. People obviously, I'm just going to warm up my car for a few minutes. What could happen, and then something happens. So just a reminder, Elgin, make sure that you're locking your car. If you have another set of keys, that you can keep your car and lock your car. Have your car running, but lock your car so so someone doesn't see it as an opportunity. Please, we encourage that. So we want to continue to see those numbers go down. So, and then in our Group B offenses, we are at a 25% increase. And again, the Group B offenses, as I mentioned, include some of our DUIs and some proactive things that the officers might be doing to increase those numbers. And so we always include the Group B offenses so people have an accurate snapshot of what's happening in the city. But anything significant in that category that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, a lot of this is going to be petty offenses, and one of our larger ones is trespassing so far. We're up an additional 20 offenses this year compared to last year. That's going to be a mix of a lot of things. It could be people refusing to leave a retail store after closing, domestic situations where an uninvited guest refuses to leave. It can be a mix of a lot of things. And so far, compared to the previous months, trespassing is a little bit on the high end, especially for January, but it's kind of within the range of what we usually see over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, and one thing to remember too, and that's the purpose of kind of doing this show, is to keep the community informed about what crime stats are, how do we look at crime stats, what strategies do we employ, but it's also so that every month we're having an ongoing conversation, because the crime stats could change. In December when we're sitting here, we don't know what we're going to be looking at, so it's just important to keep that conversation going. So that is January of 2022, and so thank you, Ryan, again for all your work. So I want to just, again, shortly, you'll see Officer Gutierrez joining Ryan, and he'll be providing this information in Spanish so that our entire community is able to access this information as well. So with that, Elgin, I will see you next month with Ryan and also with Hector, but make sure that you stay safe, you stay engaged, and you stay connected.
Bienvenidos, soy el oficial Gutiérrez y este es el resumen de Lalley en el Valle.
Ella habló sobre los crímenes que han ocurrido aquí en la ciudad de Elgin. Unas estadísticas que ella mencionó fue de que los crímenes grupo A, que son los crímenes más serios, están ahorita a un negativo 26%. Eso significa que en el 2021 hubo 15, el promedio 15 crímenes serios, ahorita es 34 crímenes que van. Tenemos obviamente a Ryan, que él tiene en sí las estadísticas de los crímenes, y cualquier información que yo pueda obtener de él les voy a informar. El grupo B son los crímenes menores, está a un por ciento de 25% más, y esto significa también los DUIs, son cosas que también los oficiales salen a hacer y son activos para eso es el motivo que está en un 25% más alto que el año pasado. Una cosa que la jefa estaba mencionando era que los robos de automóviles han aumentado, y la razón de que discutíamos era porque a lo mejor en el 2021, como porque había COVID, todas las personas estaban en la casa, entonces no había manera de que la oportunidad para el crimen, para que las personas robaran carros. Ahora en el 2021 hubo 8 de estos robos, 8 de estos crímenes. En el 2022, lo que va ahorita del año, hay 23 de estos crímenes. Quiere decir que entonces hay que asegurar nuestras pertenencias, hay que asegurar la casa, el carro, para que no haya oportunidad para los malhechores para que hagan estos crímenes. Y como decía Ryan, what was the saying, Ryan? That if you like it, include in your vehicle, lock it and put the keys in your pocket. Como dice Ryan, una manera de evitar eso es de que si te gusta, asegúralo, y también tu carro, y pon la llave en tu bolsillo. Es la manera que nos puedes ayudar tú para evitar estos crímenes, porque definitivamente se hace fácil prender el carro y dejarlo prendido mientras corres para tu lunch, para tu desayuno, lo que sea, y regresas y el carro ya no está. Así es que una forma de que nos ayudes es de asegúralo y poner la llave en tu bolsillo para que no pase esto. También a lo que va del año en el estilo de tiroteos o disparos por armas de fuego, estamos a 8 incidentes en lo que va del año. El año pasado, 2021, también estamos a la misma cantidad, 8 disparos en el año pasado. Así es que todavía es algo que estamos viendo más, pero obviamente trabajando para disminuir ese porcentaje. Anything else, Ryan? I pretty much gave a little summary of the information the chief provided. Anything else you want to highlight that you can think of?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I think you pretty much covered everything.
He knows. He really knew what I was saying. He just doesn't want
to a T.
Él sabe bien lo que dije, nada más que no quiere gastar su español, lo quiere guardar para después. Pero esas son las estadísticas que nos dio obviamente el analista de la policía de Elgin, y también la información que la jefa de policía dio en inglés, y va a venir cada mes en español para que si se le interesa lo que está pasando en la ciudad de Elgin, en lo que es los crímenes más serios, que es grupo A, y grupo B, que es crímenes menores. Así es que si quieren más información, síganos viendo en la página de Facebook para más información en español sobre lo que está pasando en la ciudad de Elgin. Gracias. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.